Yarnverse Fam. So today, I was introduced to the legendary Junji Ito, arguably the most famous horror manga creator of all time. If you haven't heard of him, he's the genius behind some of the creepiest and most unsettling stories in manga history. His works like Tomie, Gyo, and The Hanging Balloons are iconic in the horror genre. Many of his creations dwell deep into psychological and supernatural terror, with his unique art style amplifying the fear factor. Some of his works have also been adapted into anime, like the Junji Ito collection in 2018, which, while not perfect, gave us a taste of his twisted world. So, while munching on my chili oil noodles and hunting for a new anime to watch, I stumbled upon the 2024 adaptation of his manga, Uzumaki. It recently dropped on Netflix, and being a sucker for anything airy, I decided to give it a shot. I mean, why not? Sometimes we all need a little change in entertainment, right? From the very first episodes, I was hooked. The introduction to the cursed town of Kuruzuocho was intriguing. The winding path to school, Kirie's casual stroll to meet her boyfriend Suichi, and the eerie whispers about Suichi's dad's obsession with spirals. That obsession, by the way, absolutely mind boggling. But let me just vent about Kirie for a moment. Why does she never listen to Suichi about the spiral curse? Like, girl, how many weird things do you need to see before you believe him? Maybe, I am sure now, her skepticism is part of the curse itself, falling into the same trap over and over again and never learning. The first two episodes really drew me in with their unsettling imagery and strange events. Creepy vibes all around. The scene where Suichi reveals the grotesque truth about his father's death, he became a spiral, was especially disturbing. The visuals were downright chilling, and I felt my stomach churn. Yes, and I was eating chili oil noodles. One thing I have to admit, Junji Ito's imagination is on another level. Who even thinks about turning something as mundane as spiral into a source of horror? Whether it's snail people, spirals growing on foreheads, or even Suichi's mother's crippling fear of spirals, the series kept finding new ways to make me uncomfortable. And that's kind of brilliant. Sweetie's mom's spiral phobia, triggered by everything from fingerprints to hair, was portrayed so well. It was heartbreaking and terrifying at the same time. The animation really captured her descent into madness after her husband's death, obsessed with spirals, and eventually her own tragic end. But here's where the rant comes in. The black and white art style was a cool nod to the original manga, and it definitely set a creepy tone, but I couldn't help wondering, what if it had been in color? Would it have been even more terrifying or just overwhelming? The visuals were strong at first, but the animation quality really dropped after the first episode. By the second episode, things first started looking clunky and some of the character movements felt off. It's like they ran out of budget halfway through. And don't get me started on the pacing. Four episodes for a story this intricate? Not enough. The rushed storyline didn't give the horror time to simmer, and some of the side stories felt crammed in without proper build up. Even with all of its flaws, Uzumaki is a fascinating watch. It is weird, gross, horrifying, and totally spiraling, pun intended. If you are a Junji Ito fan or just curious about his work, I'd still recommend giving it a shot. but keep your expectations in check. Oh, and if you have seen it, let me know your thoughts. Did the spirals freak you out as much as they did me? Or were you more annoyed by the rushed pacing and uneven animation? Drop your comments below and let's spiral into this conversation together.